Welcome to Ask Rich and Ed from Procurement Says No.
Woo.
Back in episode 5, we started answering listeners' questions with insightful views and advice. Now we've created a whole new way of listening to Ask Rich and Ed with bite-sized mini podcasts full of useful answers to your questions.
Ooh, nice. Bite-sized chunks.
Let's see what questions we've got this time, Ed.
Well, Rich, will they be fatuous or inane? Or inane? Or inane? Or insightful? Your word, not mine. Let's make it real.
Boom. We're going to do a special edition of Ask Rich and Ed, which are all questions from lucky listeners around the world asking about various recruitment-y type things. So shall I kick off?
Yeah, go on.
Right, we got the first question. It's from David Schwimmer. Wasn't he in Friends?
He probably was, yeah.
David Schwimmer in London. I have an interview for a head of procurement role in a large retail business. It's goods not for resale rather than merchandise. Given that you two have been interviewed and have interviewed many times, what are your top tips?
Right. So having been interviewed and interviewed people, the thing that really tells you something about the person is the word I and the word we. So if you're looking for a senior role, head of procurement, you need to be talking about the things that you have done, not what you have done collectively with other people. When you're interviewing, talk about the things that you personally have led and delivered, not the stuff that you've been more generally involved in.
Yes.
And then the other one is anecdotes make people believe you.
Yes.
And numbers make people believe you, particularly in a procurement context. So I think when you're being interviewed, I saved 11.3%, it was a couple of £100,000 on a deal for whatever. When you're being interviewed, you need to look and feel authentic and believable. Yeah. What do you reckon, Rich?
Similar to you, I've put the answer that everybody goes, oh, you should just be yourself, as opposed to being somebody else. Yeah, that's a stupid thing to say. I've said, use figures. I've said, and if necessary, make them up.
Yeah.
Because no one can disprove them. Preparing some obvious questions and answers. People will always ask you about, when did you deal with a tricky stakeholder? When were you involved in strategy development? What's the biggest saving you've ever made? How have you turned around a supplier's performance? Those questions will always come up. So prepare some examples of specifically of what you've done and use the old STAR technique. Situation, task, action, and result.
Yeah.
But talk about numbers. And you're right. Using examples and stories is the way to do it.
And drop in examples of what you've done. I think that gives people confidence. And the other one, I think that authenticity, Rich, I think is really big. Be yourself.
Be yourself. Don't be a different character. Like, don't go in and say, I'm going to do this interview in the style of a magician or a wizard. That never works.
The Harry Potter wizard.
I was thinking Gandalf, actually.
Don't wear a long cloak, a stave,
and a pointy hat.
Because they're going to think you're mad. But then again, if that is you and you're being authentic,
then fill your boots. Pixie boots.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the other one is research the company that you're going to work for and then ask them questions about their company.
Yes, show interest. I remember being in an interview once and I asked a question about the business and the guy seemed really disinterested and wasn't convincing at all about what the business was. I thought,
maybe this isn't the place for me.
Right.
Right, this is for you. This is from Erica Divers in Bristol. Why do some businesses only want to recruit from their own sectors? Oh, we just touched on this, didn't we? I find it frustrating that, for example, the NHS seems to prefer candidates with NHS experience. Surely for procurement roles, they should be looking to best practice sectors like automotive, aerospace, FMCG, rather than internally within their sector. What do you reckon?
And they're still doing it in the NHS. So, Erica, you're absolutely right. I've seen that before a few years ago in the NHS, and they said, "Oh, but you need NHS experience." It's just weird. But yeah, I totally agree. It's still happening. Looking outside of your sector is surely good. As we mentioned earlier, diversity of thinking, bringing the best ideas from the outside in. I can understand sometimes where they would need very, very specific skills because, we've got a requirement. We need to buy this sort of equipment. And that is an NHS thing. In those instances, if it's really urgent, maybe that's where you get an interim in to help you support that. But even so, you can learn what a category is. And actually the business should know what the category is that they're buying if the procurement person, doesn't it? The procurement person is then about the negotiation and the commerciality and the process.
I think in some ways it's better not to understand the category.
Well, that's how you've approached your entire career, Ed.
No, but if you think about it, you ask, one is you've got the stakeholders around you. So let's say you're buying logistics services, right? So what do? You go and talk to the logistics manager in the business. You talk to the warehouse leadership staff, etc. You do a bit of research online and you find out how the market works. I mean, I think sometimes it's almost good to get a bit of a new perspective on the category. Now, there is one or two things really peculiar in terms of what the price point is.
Yeah.
And as you say, maybe you bring an interim in there into that sort of position. But I think it's really good to sort of cross-fertilise and get somebody with a different viewpoint who might ask stupid questions.
Well, stupid questions which are actually necessary questions.
Yeah.
You know, when you're in a presentation or something and somebody uses some 3-letter acronym and you go, oh, what does that mean? And, you know, nobody in the room knows what it is. It's like, oh dear. What about things like fashion bias? There's a different skill there, isn't there, in terms of it's a kind of marketing buying type role, isn't it? Or sales buying type role when you're buying fashion or you're buying goods for resale.
They learnt it at some point, didn't they?
Yeah.
Let's take a garment, a blouse, right, made somewhere in the Far East.
And it is nice. It looks nice on you, Ed.
It does. I love a blouse at the weekend. Look at buying a blouse, right? It's the same as a piece of metalwork on an electromechanical device, right? It's got material content, it's got labour content, it has a marketplace, it has overhead. It's not that hard to work out what it should cost.
But is it in fashion, darling?
Yeah, but that can be learned. What would you bring new if you hadn't worked in merchandising?
Yeah.
So merchandisers work on margin. Yeah, so they target, say, 30%. They buy it at a price, they mark it up and sell it at 30% more, basically, in really simple terms. Somebody coming in from a sort of a normal direct procurement space, like buying widgets for a factory or something, they might look at that differently. They might look at it in terms of the cost breakdown structure for the product and how they can engineer that better.
Yeah. And there may be a whole load of, ooh, yes, we've never thought of that type moments at that point, yeah. What? Cross-fertilization, you say? There you go, Erica. Right. The next one is from Michelle Strokes in Paris. I am in the lucky position of having 2 job offers. One as a head of category management in a large European distribution business with a team of 8 and a spend of 350 million euros. And the other as a head of procurement, also a more senior sounding role in a smaller French logistics business, which is growing quickly and has a total spend of 300 million euros, so similar, and a team of 6. Which do you think offers the best opportunity for me? So the smaller job in a bigger company or the bigger job in a smaller company? Oof. What do you think, Ed?
Yeah, it depends what you want, Michelle. What is your ambition? What is it you want from your career? Do you want to go to the top? You're looking for more and more responsibility? Do you like that? And do you like a sort of smaller type of environment where you can perhaps have more influence yourself, less guidance? Or do you want to work in an environment that is a bit more comfortable, where you can go to others and they will help you make the decision, etc.? I think there's a whole load of factors. So think about that. Maybe do a little stock take. These are the things I want out of my career, and make a list of the types of things. And then also make a note of the sort of things that are important to you in the business that you might work for. Bigger businesses tend to be more bureaucratic as a general rule. Smaller businesses tend to be nimble. They're growing because they're nimble.
I agree. The sort of bigger businesses, there may be more scope for development. There will be more structure, but it's probably more corporate and more bureaucratic and might be frustrating. And then a smaller business, you might get thrown in the deep end, which might be a good thing if you enjoy that, learning fast on the job. Yeah. There may be loads of opportunities there. But then again, it's a smaller business, so then there may be a bit of a dead end. Do your research, find out more about those 2 businesses. Which one would you take?
The smaller one, because I like change. Yeah. I like every day to be different. So I think a smaller company, I would prefer that environment. I don't like people telling me all the time what to do and all that, like you. I don't want you to tell me what to do.
I'd like you to fill in this form now of telling me what you'd like to do.
Okay, I'll get on that straight away, sir.
That's all the questions from this time. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.